Teachers, this is Ms. Kern, and I'm going to show you how you could use Google Forms to create your virtual lessons. So I'm going to start by giving you a tour of my day one virtual lesson so that you can see what Google Form lessons might look like. So this is my introductory page. You can see I've added, actually this is a Google slide, so I'm going to show you how to include Google Slides in your Google Forms. You can add little messages for students. On my first page, I like to include a reminder of the expectations, what to do if there's a tech issue, which I'm sure there will be. I like to post my agenda and my learning target, my fun little Bitmoji self there. And I highly recommend creating a space for students to type their name just in case you forget to set it to collect email addresses automatically, which I will show you how to do. I'm also going to show you how to chunk it so that it's broken up into sections. And students have to complete each section before they move on. So for example, this is my Do Now section here. I have my instructions on a Google slide because it's a little bigger and more colorful and easy to read. Google Forms are also cool because you can include timers. So students can use timers to keep track of how long they're taking. There's different types of questions that you can add. So this is just a checkbox type of question. You can do short answer. You can do like a paragraph box. You can also do multiple choice. You can also set it so that if students forget to answer a question or try to skip a question, it actually won't let them move on until they answer that question. So I'll show you how to set it up to do that. If you have created your own video, so I'm just going to skip to a page where I have my own video that I created to model a skill. You can embed your own videos.
Let's start with an example of how good readers use the 10 habits.
So that's my video I created. You can also insert videos that have already been created by other people, such as the timers. And then Google Forms is great for humanities because if you have a text, rather than have students open up a separate Google document, which can sometimes be a little tricky when kids have lots of windows open, you can actually just embed the text that students need right there in the Google Form with the questions. So just to make everything a little more streamlined and organized. I got a lot of feedback from students last year that they liked not having to open up different tabs for everything. If you are thinking about differentiation, Google Forms is great for that. You can insert a slide that's got some sentence starters for kids, or if on the fly you would just like to create some sentence starters, you can just go ahead and share your screen with kids. So that's what I do. I just share my screen, go through the forms with them, and then rather than type out a whole answer, I'll just type out a sentence starter for them. So I'll just narrate. Looking at question 1, if you're having trouble getting started, I've got a sentence starter typed out in that box for you. And students do appreciate those sentence starters. Another thing that I like to do in my Google Forms is check for understanding. So for example, I like to include exemplar answers. So on the last page, students typed in their own answers. On this page, I've got a check your work section, and I like to just add a little like metacognitive moment. It helps me check for understanding. It helps kids think about their level of understanding. So you could ask something like, how similar was your question to mine? And just add a little scale for kids to select their answer there. So now that you've seen all these different cool features of a Google Classroom or of a Google Form, I'm going to show you how to go about creating the form. It's pretty easy. So the first thing you need to do is just create the slides that you would normally use if you were going to present to a regular class. And then rather than go into your classroom and present it, I'm just going to use my keyboard shortcut here and take screenshots of each of the slides that I'm going to use. So once you take some screenshots of all of the slides that you want, you'll just go into your Google Classroom and create a new assignment. And then you can create your form right there. So I'm just going to go into my class, go to classwork, create new assignment. And at the bottom here, just go to forms and it'll just generate a blank skeleton of a form for you. Once you're here, you can work on your theme. So for example, if you wanted to upload a picture, say of you and some of your students, you could do that. You could pick one that's already populated in there. You can change the background color around. So all different types of ways to make it look a little more fun. You could title your form, so Module 1, Lesson 1, all that good stuff. Okay, so let's start by inserting one of our pictures. So I'm going to go here to Add Image. And then I'm just going to browse my documents to find the image that I want. So I'm just choosing my screenshot, and now I've got this awesome Google Slide image here for students to see. Now I'm going to show you how to create each section. So I've got my title page, and then I like to just create each section so that I know what I still need to fill in. So you could create a section for your do now, your independent practice. That's just these little bars down here, add section. And then that's going to prompt students to have to go to the next page with that little next button at the bottom. So if you want these buttons down here, it's really helpful just to chunk and paste your lesson to do that. All right, if you want to add a video, so let's say we want to add a timer, we're just going to go to add video, and I can just search 5-minute timer, and I can just insert one that's already made. If you want to insert your own video, so like my video that I created with my intro to new material part, you would just copy and paste the link to your YouTube video there. All right. To add questions, you go up here to add question, and there's lots of different types. So you could do multiple choice, short answer, the check boxes. There's a lot of different choices here. And once you ask your question, you just start typing in the answers, and it'll just add new answers for you as you go. To prevent students from being able to skip questions, you just click required, and then that way if they try to go to the next page without answering a question, it won't let them, and they have to go back and answer that question. All right, so that'll allow you to create nice chunked, bright, colorful lessons with pictures and Google Slides and videos. So once you do your lesson with students, you've gone through it with them, you're ready to take a look at your answers. This is just one from last year that I already have some answers to. I'm just in the editing mode here. I'm going to go to responses, and there's lots of different ways that you can look at your data. So for example, if you wanted to do a check for understanding and show kids what the level of understanding was, you can just go to summary. So click the summary section up here, and it'll show you these nice little graphs and everything. You could show call some answers. So like for a do now, if I'm having students type a little paragraph, I could just go through and I could highlight different answers that I thought were exemplary. So that's a way that you could do a little show call with students. You could sort it by question. So you could do it like that, or you could do individual. So we see Kevin's answers here. For easy grading though, I like to do view responses in an Excel sheet. So when it comes time for me to start figuring out what score I'm going to assign students, this is great because you can just hide the columns that you don't need. So for example, I might not need this column here, so I would just hide it. and then do that with all the columns that I don't need, so that I can just see really quickly all the things that I just want to see for the grade. So I recommend turning it into an Excel sheet and then sorting it by just the questions that you want. All right, the last thing I'm going to show you how to do is to collect email addresses. So definitely recommend making it automatically collect their email addresses, making sure that kids are logged into their KIPP email. They're going to have to be in order to create to submit one of these Google Forms. So you just have to make sure that collect email addresses is selected here. Require a sign-in by restricting it to KIPP users. You could limit it to just one response. You could let students edit it after their response. You could set it so that they can see other people's responses. You could have it so that it shows a progress bar so that kids know how much longer they need to go. If you want to type like a nice little message like nice work, you could do that. And then if you want to use a Google form as a quiz, you could just click make this a quiz, and then it'll actually do locked mode on Chromebooks, and you can select which answer choices are correct so that it will grade for you. So that's kind of a cool feature also. And that is it. So that is how I use Google Forms to create my lessons. The last thing you're just going to want to share with students is they have to click submit or you will not be able to give them a grade. So it's important to just make sure that students are clear that they have to click this submit button in order to have it graded. Thank you so much for watching my tutorial. Please feel free to reach out to me directly if you have any questions or concerns. And good luck with your virtual teaching.